To review from last time, I talked to you about drawing voxels on paper, and you can draw voxels on paper and figure out what's possible by putting one corner in each of the boxes of the graph paper and drawing lines between adjacent voxels, line segments. And if you can draw a voxel this way, then you can create that voxel on a wall in landmark. If you have two edges that cross a single corner space, you can only put one corner in that space. So to put a corner on both of those edges, you would need two corners. You can only put one corner in there, so this shape is impossible to draw in landmark. You can get around that a bit if you can redraw those lines such that they don't both go through the same box, and then you can use the point from here and the point from here, and you can find the intersection here, and everything is okay. So sometimes you can do some things to make that work out. But that's it for review. Today I want to go through the things you can do to corners. So we're going to put a corner down here. And the first thing we can do to that corner is we can rotate it. Now keep in mind when you're rotating it, you're kind of rotating the voxel that corner is part of. So imagine a voxel here. Right, as we're rotating it around. So we're going to take that corner, and we're going to redraw that corner over here so it's cleaner. And when I rotate that corner, I rotate the voxel this way, that corner, where is that corner going to end up? And that corner is going to end up over here, right? And if I rotate it again, it's going to end up same distance here, same distance here, same distance here, same distance here as here as here. And likewise, so if I came down that much, I have to come over that much and then come up. It's going to be about there. And this should form a perfect square. It's been rotated, those corners. So that's one thing you can do to corners. You can rotate them. Another thing you can do to corners is if I put that corner over here, I can reflect that voxel. If I reflect it this way, I'm going to put the corner here. And if I reflect it this way, I'm going to put the corner down here. So this distance and this distance are the same, and this and this are all the same. And if I reflect one of these two again, I can put it down here. So now I have 4 possible locations. And in 3 dimensions, you can have more, but we're thinking in 2 dimensions right now for simplicity. Now, if I combine rotation and reflection, you see that this corner is the same as that corner, but this corner is different. So if I rotated it once, I'd get a corner over here, and I could reflect that here, here, and here. And those would be all the possible corners I could get through rotation and reflection for that one corner. Another thing you can do is complements. That's the third thing. So when you have a corner like this, and if I were to draw the voxels that share that corner, you're going to notice that these 4 voxels look different. And no matter how much I rotate this voxel, it's going to stay toward the middle of the voxel. It's going to, stay on that circle, right? But if I want to move this corner up here, I can do that, but I need to use this voxel and rotate it around. So I can use this voxel and put it down here. By copying this voxel and pasting it down here, I can get that corner to be up here, right? And by putting that corner up here, I can use that corner to rotate it around and get a different set of results. Get a bigger square. That makes sense? Let me draw that square a little darker. All right, so I can do rotation, I can do reflection, I can combine rotation and reflection. And I can do complements to get the corner in the other end of the voxel. Actually, here, 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 here. And in 3 dimensions, I think it comes out to about 288 different locations. But you're limited to these circles. You're limited to those points on that octagon and the smaller octagon inside the corner space. Really limiting. So the 5th thing, we've done rotation, reflection, complements. Oh, sorry, the 4th thing is placing these corners. Now, what can you use to place these corners? There's the add tool, which has a number of predefined shapes. There's the line tool, which produces relatively predictable shapes. At least you know, if you have a line like that you have a point somewhere on the line in each corner space, right? So you know you have 3 points here, and these points are all on the same line. The slope of each of these segments is the same. Just something, you know. You also know where that line roughly is going to end up. Now, the lines the line tool produces are shifted in 2 cardinal directions, just slightly. It's just so tiny. You can barely see it, but it is shifted. And if you use it to try to create a zero volume voxel, you have to be very careful. Anyway, because you'll get a micro voxel instead. So you know that if you draw this line between, well, let's not do that as a line tool. That's not right. It starts out at these corners. We know if we draw a line from here to here, well, line tool won't let you draw 1 voxel line, so let me do 2 voxel lines. And those corners fall along that line. So you have a corner already here. We need a corner in here somewhere, a corner in here, and one at that corner, one at that corner, one at that corner. And these are standard voxel corners, so they're not very interesting. One in here and one in here. You know that this line crosses here. So if you have already a corner that falls right there, you could take another line and use these guys, flip it around and draw it that way. And you don't really know where that line segment's going to end. It could be there and it could be up here, but you know that it crosses at the halfway mark, and you know you have a corner there, so you can use that corner. Likewise, if you know it's going to intersect the intersection of the standard voxel again at some point. So if I continued this thing, and I know it crosses halfway here, it's going to cross halfway here, and then it's going to end up back in the center of the voxel up here. So I know it hit the standard voxel here. Again, I can use that to connect 2 lines and know that they're going to be nice, and they're going to intersect nicely, exactly where I want them to. So anyway, line tool, the add tool has some predefined shapes. The add tool also has the sphere tool, which will let you get points that are equidistant from a given location, corners that are equidistant from a given location, sorry. And there's the smooth tool. And I'm not a big fan of the smooth tool. The smooth tool will move your points. Not exactly sure right now how it decides where to move the points, which means that if you use the smooth tool, you're almost as good as pulling them out of the ground. You can paint the ground, by the way, and copy and paste corners out of the ground of the procedurally generated world, which you also potluck. Smooth tool is a little bit better than potluck. You know, in certain cases that Someone discovered recently that you can get them so you get a nice block like this if you put that in the middle of a plane. So you know that these are, on the sides of the voxel. And there is also a way to create what people are calling strings, but that's really a three-dimensional version, another way of extruding this into 3 dimensions. The last most interesting part is the limitation of corners. So we've gone through the 5 things you can do to them, and I'm going to 5 things you can do to them: rotation, reflection, complements, placement, and smoothing. Smoothing actually transforms a corner that's already there instead of placing it in a particular location. If between rotation and reflection, you can see that you really only care about that little triangle, right? Because there's going to be one corner in that triangle. And if you have that one little corner, you can create all these other ones. So if you're going to create a corner library, you really want to create a corner library from that corners that fall into that little triangle, and you rotate and reflect them until they get in that triangle, and you save that one. So if you're going to create a corner library, you really want to create a big triangle of multiple voxels and place these guys. So this one's for thirds, right? So yeah, this corner might store aligned. This corner might store 1/3 and then 2/3. Then down here, this corner might store the 1/3 point, but it might also be 1/3 down. So it looks like that. 2/3 down, 1/3 over, 2/3. Sorry, 1/3 over. Anyway, so you kind of get the idea. You can get all these useful corners, and they'll be unique. And I think that's all I really want to go over with today. Oh, one more thing, because this is you want corners in that guy. The intersections of these triangles are special. This is the corner of a standard voxel. This is the corner you need to make a zero volume voxel. And this is the corner you would make the edge of the side zero volume voxel. But remember, you're dealing with 3 dimensions, so this in 3 dimensions, this isn't a triangle, it's a pyramid. And the tips of the pyramid, each of the tips of the pyramid are the tips of the standard voxel and the 3 special zero volume voxels. Thanks.